It's the 10th anniversary of charter schools in New Mexico, and joining me is Senator Mark Boitano. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Jessica, happy holidays to you.
And we appreciate you coming in. And we just want to start out, explain a little bit how charter schools work, how they're funded.
Well, charter schools are public schools, and in a nutshell, they're smaller, they're more flexible, they manage their budgets differently, and they're controlled differently than the traditional schools.
Why, for some families, is this a better option for them than going to public schools?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. First of all, historically, parents had to send their children to the neighborhood schools, regardless of how they were performing. And now with charter schools, parents have choice. And some charter schools have a focus on technology, math. Other charter schools have a focus on arts and so forth. So, there's a certain specialty that makes each of the charter schools novel or unique. The other thing is, because they're smaller, there's a different energy on the campus. The staff is more engaged, parents feel more engaged, and students feel more comfortable on a smaller campus, I think, than they do in a larger campus. For instance, traditional schools in New Mexico, high school's 2,000 kids, 2,200 kids. Typical charter school might be a couple hundred kids, so it's smaller and it's better.
Big difference for some kids who, need that smaller, more hands-on, I guess, from their teachers. How many kids participate in charter schools across the state?
Well, statewide we have about 12,000 kids in charter schools, and in APS we have thousands. We have about 5,000 kids on the waiting list. So
wow.
Parents are voting with their feet, and they're saying we want to have choice and we want to be involved in the charter schools. And with the charter school movement, Jessica, we've literally created a revolution. So in business we talk about disruptive influences or change agents, and for public schools in New Mexico, charter schools are the change agents. They're innovative, they're more flexible. The way we manage the schools is different than in the traditional schools, so it's quite revolutionary.
Can you talk a little bit about that, how, with APS you have your administration, and how are charter schools ran?
Well, in APS we have about 90,000 kids, and we have 130 or so schools, and we've got a superintendent, we've got a school board, and we have the principal in the local school, in the traditional schools. So decision making begins at the district level, has to go through the board and the superintendent, and the principals and the school staff don't have that much responsibility or authority. In a charter school, it's totally site-based, so you have a governing council that makes all the decisions. They make decisions about budget, they make decisions about hiring and firing personnel, they make decisions about scheduling. So for instance, one of the innovations in charter schools is that some of the schools have like a morning shift, an afternoon shift, and an evening shift.
A lot of flexibility there.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, for all your information, Jessica. And we'll be right back.